Hi everyone, this is Rachel from rwcrafts.com, and I'm joining in the 52 Weeks of Color fun with gelatos from Design Memory Craft. And this week's gelato color is snow cone. So you can see I am scribbling my snow cone all over this art journal page. I have already laid down some scrap pieces of text paper, and then I put gel medium on top to make them stay. And then I put a very thin layer of Design Memory Craft gesso on top of that. So now I have scribbled the snow cone gelatos, and I'm going in pretty heavily with some water and a paintbrush to spread all of that color around. And again, I'm able to use water on this page because I did do the gessoed surface, so it's not going to seep through the page. It should be fine. So one of my favorite colors to mix with snow cone is the passion fruit. I just love how these pink colors blend with the light blue. And also when you're mixing them together, or here I'm putting it on top, it also gives you a bit of a purplish tint. So you have the pink and the purple coming through by just using these two gelatos. So I'm going to spread the passion fruit gelatos just around some of the edges of my page, just to add some new interest besides the snow cone. And now I am taking this stencil. It is from the Mixed Media Stencil 102 collection by Design Memory Craft. And you can see I'm just scribbling in each of the open spaces a little bit of snow cone gelatos and then rubbing it down with my finger. And by rubbing it with my finger, it's going to lift up and give me the stencil image. There, you see it? So I'm going to do this throughout my page. Whenever I'm using a stencil pattern like this, I want to make sure that I have parts of the pattern going off of the page, not just in the middle of the page, because that helps create some movement. So it looks like your entire page is flowing. It's not just stuck in one place. So you can see I did that throughout. Even though I did the snow cone on top of the background layer of snow cone, it still shows up. So you're still able to layer with the same color. So now I'm taking a stencil. I believe this is from the Mixed Media Doodle stencil collection. I really love this bold flower pattern. I'm putting it up in the corner here, and you can see I'm adding some gesso over it with a sponge. And the trick to doing this is that you want to pick up the gesso from the side. You can see I've put some on my work mat, and this makes it so the gesso isn't so liquid that it's going to seep under the stencil. And I actually did 2 layers. And now that the gesso is dried, I'm going to go over it with my passion fruit gelatos and just rub it down with my finger. And by doing the gesso underneath, it will make the pink color from the passion fruit a little more bold. It will be less purple than the passion fruit that I used before, where I just put it directly on top of the snow cone. And I'm doing that here in the top left corner, and then I'm also going to do another one in the bottom right corner. So you can see I've done both. So now I am chopping off a pretty sizable chunk of snow cone gelato with my spatula, and I am going to mix that up with my Texture Luxe pearl paste. And this will add a very light blue color into my Texture Luxe pearl. And you really have to kind of smash down all the gelato. You really want to get the pigment mixed in so it looks like it's a part of the texture. So now we're going to talk about layering stencils. This is one of my favorite things to do. It adds such a big impact. So you can see I taped down my original bold floral stencil. And then I took this polka dot stencil from the, I think this is Stencil 101 collection. And I'm layering it on top, and then very carefully spreading my Texture Luxe combination over that. So there's a lot of stencils going on here. You can see my head's poking in because I really want to make sure that I'm just getting the polka dot stencil on the part of the flower that I've already colored. I don't want it outside of the flower, or else that'll defeat the point. So here we go with my polka dot. And you have to very carefully lift up this washi tape. You don't want to rip anything that you've already added to your art journal page. And then again, I did the same to my bottom pattern. And there you go. So you get the polka dot texture luxe on top of the flower, and it's not going outside of the flower at all. It really is contained in those flower petals. I just love how that looks. So now I'm taking the stencil again. This is, I think, the third time that I've used the same stencil. It's all about layering your stencils. And I'm going through with a Stampers Big Brush Pen in Cobalt Blue. And I'm just outlining it to give it a little more definition from the background. And you can see with each line that I do, I also rub it with my finger. And this helps blend it and give it a softer look, so it's not such a hard line. I love how that looks. And you can see I also did it on the bottom one as well. So now to finish off my art journal page, I am using this Dream word stencil. This is from the Stencil 102 collection. And I'm going over it with Texture Luxe paste in copper. I just thought that the copper was something different than your usual gold or silver. And I'm going over it pretty heavily. There's a thick coating of Texture Luxe here. And nice and slow. Since it is a word, you don't want the imperfections. I don't mind the imperfections when you're doing a pattern, but when it's a word, you really want it to be nice and clean. And then I just scrape off the excess and scoop it back into my jar for later. And I always like a little touch of black, so I love using the Design Memory Craft chalkboard paint and this fan brush just to kind of spread around some sprinkles of black paint. And there is my finished art journal page. I hope that you try layering your stencils and get a fun result. Keep playing with it. It's a lot of fun. So make sure to check out everything below. Thank you. Bye.